Welcome to Wall Street Confidential on TheStreet.com TV. I'm Farnoosh Torabi. Welcome, Jim Cramer. Jim, I have a little question for you.
Sure.
I'm confused because I've heard you say two things, and I want you to be able to connect the two for me. One, you say buy and hold, buy on homework. Buy on homework. Do your homework.
Right.
And then you say hold stocks. It seems like those are very disparate theories, and we were talking about this on the heels of Cumulus, a deal this morning. I just want you to make sense of that a little bit for me. Because
look, first of all, it is a seeming quandary. Notice the emphasis on seeming. Because, here I recommend a stock like New York Stock Exchange, and people are down huge. Of course, I recommended 60, I recommended 100, but it doesn't matter. If you bought it between 95 and 100, you think, well, Cramer's buy and hold, grow, hold, is just completely nonsense. What I am saying is there is no coming back from a bad buy. This weekend in the Miami papers, I was quoted in the sports section saying your first loss is your best loss. This is a phrase he said, in real money. Of course, it was about cutting Culpepper for the Miami Dolphins, saying Cramer's right. Your first loss is your best loss, whether you're coaching the Dolphins or whether you're owning stocks. I think the Cumulus is an example of your first loss is your best loss, not necessarily that about buy and hold. But let me explain. Cumulus is a radio company. Lou Dickey came in to see me. I was trying to pitch Lou Dickey to take my radio show, Real Money, which subsequently I've had to stop because I just didn't have enough voice bandwidth. But this was a few years ago. I left buying Cumulus for ActionAlertsPlus.com because he told me this story about how chronically radio was undervalued. Stock was at 18. I booted it out subsequently around 14, 15. People took a 3-point loss who followed me on ActionAlertsPlus.com. Subsequently, the stock gets cut in half from where I sell it, and this morning there's a deal. Now, what I am saying is, had you bought and hold Cumulus the whole time, you made a bad move because the cash flows kept declining, the business kept declining. It was a wrong move by me. You should have said the first loss is your best loss. That trumps even buy and homework. Because what it says is that sometimes your homework's questionable, so you got to take your loss. Now, buy and hold, when does it apply? High-quality stocks that pay dividends, where the dividend can grow and the earnings are growing, are exempt from the notion that buy and hold's bad. Now, New York Stock Exchange is very frustrating to me because the company has far exceeded what I expected. But people just hate it. Now, one of the reasons why people hate it is because there's a lot of specialist sellers, and people don't recognize that sometimes sellers are wrong. Now, in the old days of my hedge fund, someone said to me the sellers are wrong. I tell them to get the hell out. I throw a water bottle at them. But I think it's important to recognize I'm not in a hedge fund, and our home game viewers aren't in a hedge fund, meaning that I'm not going to have to report at the end of this quarter to my investors and say, oh, man, I really screwed up on New York Stock Exchange. I'm not going to do that. I didn't screw up. I'm getting 30% growth. I think I'm going to get a $3.50 number. I think 30% growth, you get 1 times growth, and you're going to realize why I like this stock at 90 and 95. But right now, I'm wrong. My homework continues to say that I am right. My homework in Cumulus told me I was wrong. These are two different issues, and we should separate them. One is first loss, best loss. The other is if you do buy and homework, you're still going to do well.
So as long as there's growth, buy and
growth with dividend and equal, no screw. One of the things I always tell people, look, when a stock goes down, you got to re-examine it. Are you getting what you wanted? Did something happen? Don't lie to yourself. Did New York Stock Exchange, you were predicting 30% growth, you get 33% growth, that's okay. New York Stock Exchange, you were predicting 30%, you got 20% growth. Stop hiding behind the notion of buy and hold. I don't want people to hide behind the notion of buy and hold. I initially hid behind the notion of buy and hold in Cumulus because I kept saying, I had Lou Dickey in here. He sold me the story. Well, you know what? He sold me a bill of goods, and had I held it, he gets to profit from it, and I am just hung.
We don't like that.
No.
This is Wall Street Confidential. I'm Farnoosh Torabi. Thank you, Jim Cramer.